particular class of people in this country long for. So the responsibility, I think, lies beyond the domain of builders also. It lies in those who promote and desire this aesthetic sensibility, who long for the world city, who want to see Karachi change into the next Dubai or the next Singapore or the next whatever. And it's not just builders and the mayors who want that. It's a particular strata of this city that make it work and want to change it into a glamour zone. I think that responsibility also lies very much with that. So
yeah. My question again from Roland. You know, we all talk about global warming and snow melting and everything. And we talk about renewable energy and efficient buildings and efficient transport. But to be honest, it is already too late. It'll take thousands of years to reverse the damage that we have already caused. My question is, are we thinking of other ways to cope with whatever happens?
If you keep a track of what's going on internationally in trying to control global warming, you'll find that most stuff is really not working. And it's very difficult. We have the tragedy of the commons where nobody wants to step back and give up what he already has. There's a very simple statistic. USA has 5% of the world's population and consumes 25% of its resources. Now, each and every one of us in this world, whether you're sitting in a village somewhere, or you're sitting in a Kachi Abadi in Karachi, or you're sitting in a Kachi Abadi in Africa, we look at TV and we aspire to that kind of a life. Now, if everyone in this world was to become like America, have 2 cars in the driveway, be able to go to Las Vegas twice a year, go down to the beach, then 100% of the world would require 500% resources, which is not possible. I think we should begin to realize that. If you look at Karachi today, we don't have electricity, we don't have gas, we don't have water. We take all our sewage and dump it in the sea untreated. We don't have transport. So somewhere we've got to cut back. Somewhere we've got to change our lives. Somehow we've got to simplify things. I'm not suggesting that only Karachi can do it, but unless the world does it. You know, there's a saying of Ban Ki-moon 2 years ago when he went to the Arctic and then came to an environmental conference in Europe. The world is heading towards an abyss and we have our foot on the accelerator. It's time we realized this and took our foot off the accelerator.
There is a strategy. It began in Ayub's time with the Greater Karachi Resettlement Plan. That is when it began. We were a multi-class, multi-ethnic city. That plan drove the poor out of this city and drove particular ethnicities out of the city as well. I won't go into the details, but if you want, there's a lot of literature which we have put together on this. That's one thing. You know, since 1982, we have had absolutely no social housing at all. Doesn't exist. You just have to somehow manage to find a place to live through some mafia or through your ethnic connections. Slowly, you are pushing the poor to the periphery of the city in a very planned and organized manner, increasing their travel costs, depriving their children of educational institutions, depriving them of good health institutions, making it impossible for their women to work because they can't come all the way, increasing their travel costs, enormous social costs also, through massive bulldozing of settlements. So then you have these elite projects. I'm not against them. I'm not against Port Grand, but I'm very much against the fact that Port Grand has put sheets on the north side of the bridge so that people can't look into it. So the view of The city is obscured to those who used to come there for various activities. Then, for some reason, you block off the other side as well, and you stop a cultural and entertainment and recreational activity that was taking place for more than 100 years. And that attracted a good 50, 60,000 persons over the weekend per day. And these were cultural activities. They were rooted in the history of the city. You have swallowed up multi-class public space. Elite has swallowed it up. The city floods today because of the elite, because they've grabbed the outlets, the outfalls to the drainage system. I mean, this is all anti-poor. And anyway, I'll stop here because one can go on. There's a whole list.
If I may just add something to that.
Yes.
Most of you are probably aware that 60% of this city is Kachi Abadi. 60% of this city has not been planned for. Now, if somebody came to my house and found that 60% of the people in my house didn't have a place to sleep, or didn't have a table, a chair to sit at the dining table, or didn't have a cupboard, or weren't there, they'd say, what sort of a family is this? Why are the 40% enjoying it and 60% not? 60% over the last 60 years have not been planned for by the planners, by the government of this city. This is increasing, and it is increasing in a lot of cities all around the world.
One very last question, and then we have to break up because we're already running very late. Yes, sir.
I want to go back to the last sentence from Mr. D'Souza about the growing population, and then going back to what Arif Hassan said, quoting some statistics. I like to quote some statistics myself. I'm a demographer. In 1972, the census which took place in Pakistan, there were 3.5 million people in Karachi. In next 10 years, they didn't double to about 5 million, 5.1 million. In 2000, they almost doubled, as a matter of fact, more than doubled, but officially figure was little over 9 million. And what I hear now, in the last 12 years, they have doubled again to about 18 million or 16 million, I don't know, because census hasn't taken place. My question is that this growth is mainly due to migration, as all of us know. And Mr. D'Souza did say the right thing, that the people who are coming to the city, they are ending up in unplanned localities, what we call Kachi Abadis. Arif has said that youth is the future also. And in the city, according to my recent survey, about almost 30% of the population is youth. Very demanding, very challenging. About 30% of them are unemployed. That's last year's figure, according to my survey. Where are we going? That's a question I would like to ask from Arif and from D'Souza. Thank you.
Look, let me first say that the settlements that are being set up today are very different from the settlements that were set up when I began working. They are not the same settlements. In those settlements, people had opted to come. They made a conscious decision: we are going to go to Karachi, improve our livelihood, send money back, call our family over subsequently. Many of the settlements today are people who have been forced off their land. This is a very big difference. And these settlements do not have the political protection that those previous settlements had. Consequently, you will not find any homes in these settlements that are pakka. You will not find schools. You will not find health centers. And they are all over the place, and they are increasing. So this is one. Where are we going? Karachi's geographical position since enormous wealth, gas, coal, oil, Balochistan's gold, copper. This is Karachi's future. But for that, peace is required, and what is required is an understanding between the different factions, political factions of this city, who are busy consolidating their own constituencies and not looking at the future of this city as a city. So, peace, reconciliation would change Karachi. And of course, Karachi has an uncaring elite, and which is the biggest tragedy that any city can have, is an uncaring and unaware.
Well, the elite are always callous. Just read Frederick Engels. So with that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, our panelists, Roland, Naqvi Saab, Arif Saab, and thank you, Ms. Qureshi. If you want an elongated session, ask OUP to sponsor a special session on megacities, and we'll go on for several hours. That's it. Thank you.
There's a token of appreciation for the panelists.
Okay, great. All right. Please don't go yet. We're going to have...
From the Dawn and the OUP.
all right. And great. Thank you.